One of the most important reasons why you're not perhaps getting the results that you want is simply because you're not training hard enough. I went to a commercial gym last week, and 99% of the time I'm training here on my own in the studio. And it was very, very interesting to look around the gym and see what most people are doing. To be honest, watching people perform each set, there was only one or two people that I truly think that they challenged their muscles to the appropriate level to stimulate some response. So when we perform a set, whether we're doing 5 reps or whether we're doing 30 reps, one of the most important things to get stronger or build muscle is how close we push that set close to complete muscular failure. Now, complete muscular failure would be when you have nothing left more to give and you can't complete the rep. If we put 5 kilograms on a bar and just continued squatting for as long as truly possible, we would get to a point where we can't do any more. And when we think about every exercise that we do, we ideally want to be pushing close to that proximity of failure. And you don't need to be going to the extreme, but for most people, stopping 2 to maybe 3 reps before that complete failure is a really good place to be to stimulate some response and reduce the injury risk. And things to look out for when we reach that point is the concentric, which is described when the muscle is shortening, and eccentric is described when the muscle is lengthening. We want the concentric phase, so for most exercises like the squat or like the bench press or the overhead press, it's on the way up. So it's coming out of the squat, it's pressing the bar above your head. That should be slowing down. So, those last few reps where it's really struggling, that's where we want to be. Okay, you should feel like your breathing rate increases. And the kind of, you sometimes see those faces of them trying to really squeeze out that last rep. Okay, so that's really important. Number one is not training hard enough and not training close enough to muscular failure. Number two, which also goes hand in hand with reason one, is people do too many exercises within one single session. You talk to them and you ask, what did you do today? And they kind of list out 8, 10 different exercises, maybe even sometimes more. And what that means is you only have a certain amount of energy to give within that single session. And if you're spreading that energy evenly across 10 different exercises, then the actual quality work that you do for each one of those exercises is fairly low. Whereas if we can focus all of our energy into perhaps 1 to 2 main compound exercises. Compound just means it works a variety of muscle groups all at once. So for example, a squat and a deadlift work tons of different muscle groups, whereas a bicep curl is mainly isolating the bicep. So we want to pick compound exercises that require tons of energy and work a large amount of muscles. We want to be doing 1 to 2 of those, maybe 3. And then after that, we want to pick 2 to 3 accessories, and these are more of the isolation exercises or weaknesses, or if you have a specific goal, use those exercises that are targeted towards that. So I think really 5 exercises is plenty for a single session. And so when we think about that, for every exercise that we do, we just want to make sure that we are training hard and we limit the amount of exercises. Okay, your energy is limited, spend it wisely, and use it on the exercises that are going to be extremely valuable for you. The other one is lack of tracking and applying progressive overload. So if you're turning up to the gym and you have no idea what you did the week before, and you're just purely turning up thinking, I'm going to choose this weight today, I'm going to choose this weight depending on how I feel day to day, you're not going to get stronger. And the reason why you're not going to get stronger is because you're not gradually lifting heavier each week. That is the definition of progressive overload. It means small, steady, gradual increases in the amount of work or weight you're doing. So examples of progressive overload, the most common example would be adding more weight. So week 1, you do 40 kilograms of bench press, and by week 8, you're up to 60. Each week, you've gradually added a 2.5 kilograms or whatever that may be. So adding reps is one of the most, adding weight is one of the most common ways that we can do this. The other one would be adding 1 to 2 reps the following week. So last week you did 3 sets of 10. The following week you try and do 3 sets of 12, 10, 10. So you've done an extra 2 reps over that week. And then not only can we just add reps, sets, or weight, we could also classify progressive overload as going through a larger range of motion. Okay, we could also do that as tempo, so how slow or fast can you perform that movement, and even just general feel of the movement. You feel more confident and get into a better position in the squat. That would be classed as getting better than the week before. Okay, and then the final one, which is probably the most important one, and the one that we often, it all comes down to this, is not being consistent and not training for long enough. Most people give up too soon. In the early stages, in the first 6 to 8 weeks, they call it the honeymoon phase, you can make tons of progress very quickly. But the longer you train, that progress slows down. Strength takes a very, very long time to build. Okay, it's not something that's done over days, over weeks, over months. It's years and years and years of consistent strength training. So to summarize some of the key takeaways there, number 1, train harder. Every time you perform a set, make that set count. Push the intensity close to muscular failure. Number 2 is do less in your workouts. Okay, pick 1 to 2 key main exercises that you're going to be working on. Attack those really hard, and then 2 to 3 accessory exercises. 5 exercises is a good amount, okay? And you're going to feel much better by doing less. Number 3 is track your progress. I strongly encourage you to get a pen and paper, bring a notepad every time you come to the gym and write your workouts down. Okay, you can look back the week before, see how many reps or what weight you did, and just by knowing what you did the week before, you will automatically have more of an incentive to try and beat that the following week. If your goal is flexibility, or you're looking to improve a skill like a handstand, then tracking progress with videos and pictures can also be a really helpful tool to see your positioning and compare back to where you started. And then number 4, which is the most common one, and we see this all the time, is just consistency. Okay, it's gonna take a long time for results to appear, but you have to realize that it's a compounding effect that just builds and builds and builds until you can do some really cool things. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you listening. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.